Something feels wrong in Derry tonight. The kind of wrong that crawls under your skin and whispers that the danger isn't coming. It's already here. Episode 4 ends with a moment that doesn't just shock. It changes everything we thought we knew about Pennywise and the quiet little town that pretends not to fear him. If you felt a chill run down your spine when that final shot hit, you weren't imagining it. This ending wasn't just a cliffhanger. It was a warning. Episode 4 slowly pulls us back into the heart of Derry, by reminding us that every friendly face and every quiet street hides a secret waiting to break open. The episode begins with tension building between the townspeople as more strange events start piling up: missing items, odd noises from the sewers, and stories whispered in hushed voices as if saying them out loud might make them real. Throughout the episode, we follow the main group as they try to make sense of the growing fear around them. One character starts noticing patterns that connect the current events to old stories about children who disappeared decades ago, and these clues push them deeper into places where no one wants to look. Another character struggles with dreams that feel too real, dreams filled with flashing red balloons and laughter echoing from nowhere, and they wake up each night unsure if the terror was in their mind or standing at the foot of their bed. The adults of Derry continue turning away, pretending everything is normal, pretending that nothing supernatural could ever touch their quiet routines. But the younger characters know better. They feel the presence growing stronger, like something is pulling the town back into a cycle it has tried to forget. As tension builds, the episode mixes emotional moments with creeping dread, conversations about fears that never healed, memories that break through the surface, and friendships that are tested as everyone tries to understand why the town feels different this time. By the time we reach the middle of the episode, we start seeing how Pennywise's influence spreads even when he isn't on screen. Lights flicker, shadows twist, and the innocent smiles of Derry's children start to look a little too empty. Each scene carries the weight of something waiting to strike. The episode also reveals hidden details about Derry's past: old newspaper clippings, abandoned houses with scratched walls, and warnings left behind by people who vanished without explanation. These bits of history point to a pattern of fear that returns again and again. It becomes clear that Pennywise doesn't just appear. He seeps into the town like poison, shaping its people and feeding on their pain. The characters try to hold on to hope, but every step closer to the truth only reveals how deep the darkness runs. By the time episode 4 reaches its final moments, every small clue has built toward a tension that is ready to snap, preparing the audience for the final scene that changes the entire direction of the story. The ending of episode 4 builds tension with every second, and it starts with a quiet moment that feels wrong the instant you see it. The character walks through the empty street, carrying the weight of everything they discovered in the episode, but something about the silence feels too heavy, too forced, as if the town itself is holding its breath. Streetlights flicker one by one, not in a random pattern, but almost like something is guiding the darkness toward them. They notice a balloon resting in the middle of the road, but unlike the bright red balloons we usually see connected to Penny, this one looks pale and drained, as if it was once red but had the life sucked out of it. When the character steps closer, the air shifts, and even though nothing visible moves, you can feel the sense of being watched. The subtle horror grows stronger when the wind carries a faint laugh, so soft that it almost sounds like the wind itself is trying to mimic a child's voice. The character freezes, unable to tell if the sound is coming from behind them or deep below the ground. This confusion is exactly what Pennywise feeds on: fear that cannot be understood, terror that feels like a memory even when it hasn't happened yet. As the character reaches for the balloon, it slowly rises on its own, floating upward without any string attached, almost as if an unseen hand is pulling it away. Then the street cracks with a sharp, echoing noise, and a storm drain nearby begins to rattle. The character stares at it, heart racing, and the camera holds the moment long enough to make the silence unbearable. The grate shakes harder, and suddenly a burst of water shoots upward, splashing across the road. The water isn't clear, it has a slight reddish tint, not enough to confirm blood but enough to make the audience unsure. From the bubbling water, a shape begins to form. Not a clear figure but a distorted reflection, like someone standing just beneath the surface. The reflection stretches and bends, turning into a wide smile that spreads unnaturally far across the water. The character steps back, but the water keeps rising, swelling like something underneath is pushing it up. Then comes the chilling moment. A single glowing eye appears in the reflection, bright yellow and unblinking, staring straight at the character. This is the moment the episode stops hinting and finally confirms Pennywise's presence. The eye widens, and the smile grows sharper. And then the reflection snaps apart as the water collapses back into the drain. The balloon above the character pops without warning, leaving behind a faint mist that drifts toward them like smoke. The character gasps, stumbles back, and when they look up again, the drain is perfectly still, as if nothing had happened. But something has changed. The streetlights turn from warm yellow to cold white, draining the street of color, and in the distance, the faint sound of a carnival tune begins to play. The music is slow, warped, almost broken, but it carries the same playful cruelty that follows Pennywise everywhere. The character realizes the truth. Pennywise is no longer hiding. He is waking up, testing the waters, playing with fear the way he always does before the real nightmare begins. The camera pulls back, showing the empty street, the flickering lights, and the open drain waiting silently, and then the episode cuts to black, leaving the audience locked in the tension of a moment that promises even darker things ahead. The ending of episode 4 is more than a simple scare. It is a message about how fear grows in Derry long before Pennywise fully returns. And every detail in that final scene reveals something buried beneath the town's surface. The rising water, the distorted reflection, and the single glowing eye all point to one idea. Pennywise is not just a creature that appears every cycle. He is a presence that sleeps, watches, and slowly pushes his influence into the world as the time for his awakening gets closer. The scene shows that he does not need to physically appear to control minds or bend reality. The faint laughter, the strange balloon, the warped carnival music, and the changing streetlights suggest that the very environment of Derry bends around his will. This tells us that Pennywise's power works like a pressure building underground, leaking into dreams, memories, and the smallest fears of everyday life. The drained balloon is symbolic as well. It represents fear that has existed for decades, fear that never truly disappeared even after past confrontations. It shows that old terror can be reawakened with just a breath of Pennywise's attention. When the balloon rises on its own, it symbolizes that old fears are lifting back to the surface, ready to burst. The water turning red hints that Derry's history of violence is returning to the spotlight, reminding viewers that the town is built on forgotten tragedies. The distorted reflections show a theme repeated in Stephen King's stories, the idea that evil hides behind the image of something innocent. The friendly shape of water becomes a monster's grin, suggesting that in Derry, even the safest places can become traps the moment fear cracks your sense of safety. The single yellow eye appearing from the water represents Pennywise testing his victim, not fully rising, but showing enough to plant terror deep in the character's mind. It is a reminder that Pennywise enjoys the psychological side of fear just as much as the physical hunt. He wants his victims broken from the inside first. The way the lights shift from warm to cold is another signal that his influence is spreading. Light in Derry is not just light. It represents the thin divide between reality and Pennywise's domain. When the light changes, it means Pennywise is slowly replacing the normal world with his twisted version of it. Even the carnival sound in the distance says something important. Pennywise does not appear randomly. His arrival is like a performance, a show that he carefully prepares long before stepping into the spotlight. This episode ending is him pulling the curtain back, letting the audience know the show is about to begin. The sudden calmness after the water collapses back into the drain shows how quickly Pennywise can vanish, leaving behind only doubt and fear. The character begins questioning what was real, which is exactly how Pennywise weakens his targets. Fear becomes easier to exploit when victims can't trust their own senses. Overall, the ending is a symbolic warning that the town is entering the early stages of a new cycle. Pennywise is not fully awake yet, but his power is stretching, testing, and infecting the minds of those who live above him. The message is clear. Derry is slipping back into its old nightmares, and once the fear truly takes hold, Pennywise will rise fully, stronger and hungrier than before. The ending of episode 4 doesn't just set up the next part of the story. It deeply changes the characters and the future of Derry itself. The person who witnessed Pennywise's partial awakening is now carrying a fear that will shape every choice they make moving forward. They saw something that cannot be explained by logic, and even if they try to convince themselves it was only in their mind, the truth keeps pulling at them in quiet moments. This kind of fear becomes a shadow that follows them everywhere. It affects how they speak, how they move, and even how they sleep. Their relationships will change too, because fear like this is hard to hide. People around them will feel their tension building, and some will try to help, while others may distance themselves, sensing danger but unable to name it. This emotional shift slowly spreads to the entire group of characters. Because fear is contagious, especially in a town like Derry where old stories never truly die. The younger characters, who are more sensitive to the strange energy of the town, may start experiencing their own signs, nightmares, visions, or sudden moments of dread when nothing seems wrong on the surface. This connects them to a cycle older than they realize, pulling them closer to Pennywise's world. Meanwhile, the adults will likely deny everything, ignoring the signs just like generations before them. Their refusal to face the truth creates a gap between the adults and the younger characters, pushing the kids to rely on each other more and forming the emotional core of the coming conflict. Pennywise thrives on this kind of division, because isolated victims are easier to manipulate. The town itself will also begin to shift. Strange disappearances might return, animals may react as if sensing danger, and the streets could start developing that eerie stillness that signals Pennywise's influence is spreading. The character who witnessed the final scene may try to warn others, but their fear may come across as panic or confusion, causing people to dismiss their words until something undeniable happens. This slow breakdown of trust plays directly into Pennywise's hands, making everyone more vulnerable. On a psychological level, the character's fear could begin turning into obsession. They might search for old records, follow rumors, and dig into stories the town prefers to forget. This search for answers may lead them to important discoveries about past attacks, the pattern of Pennywise's cycles, and the disturbing truth that Derry has always been part of something much darker. This obsession, though dangerous, may also be what pushes the group closer to the truth they need to face. At the same time, Pennywise gaining strength will bring heavier consequences. Each character's personal fears could become weapons against them. Pennywise is known for twisting memories, turning guilt into visions, and shaping fear into reality. As he grows stronger, he may start appearing in small, teasing moments, offering glimpses of what each character fears most. These visions will not be full attacks yet, but warnings, reminders that they are being studied like prey. The character from the final scene, being the first to truly sense Pennywise's awakening, may become the main target of these psychological games. Their fear will serve as fuel for Pennywise, making him even stronger. The more they try to hide their terror, the more Pennywise will find ways to break them down. As the cycle deepens, the group will eventually be forced to confront the truth that Pennywise's return is no accident and no one is safe until they face him. The ending of episode 4 sets all of this into motion: fear spreading, relationships shifting, trust breaking, and the town slowly sinking into its old nightmare. The consequences of this ending will shape everything that happens next, pushing the story toward a confrontation that none of the characters are truly ready for, but one they can no longer avoid.